Hi everyone, my name is Jen. I'm an author and a book reviewer, and I thought I would film a video today, or at least start filming a video today. Let's see how far we can get. I come to you from my office, which you can't tell in this shot, but I have been rejigging. So we have been living in this house for 3 and a bit years now, and my office used to be a different room, and I think I filmed a video where I was decorating that. I painted it, got prints for the walls and all of that. Really, it's the only room that we have decorated properly, which seems silly how long we've been living here, but we wanted to live in the space properly, work out what we wanted to do with each room, and then life happens, right? So we have furnished places, but I would say a lot of the rooms feel very unfinished, but that's fine because we intend to live here for quite a while and we'll get to it. Anyway, that office is now my daughter's bedroom. So I have this one now as my office, and it still needs painting, just essentially. Sorry, I'm going to waffle at the beginning of this video and then we will get to the books, please bear with, but I also feel like we haven't had a catch up in a while and it's quite nice to chat. So do you feel this about house stuff? You're like, oh, I can't do that thing because I have to do this other thing first. So I was like, I can't paint in this room because we really need to redo the electrics, and we may need to expose wires, and then there may need to be plastering, so what's the point in painting it? And then I thought, oh no, I want to get new bookcases because these bookcases are Argos's cheapest bookcases, which I bought 15 years ago, and they have survived 2 house moves by the skin of their teeth. They are clinging on just, and I would really like to get some better bookcases. And I thought, well, I should maybe save decorating this room until I've got the bookcases. And anyway, just a lot of stuff. So I thought, screw it. I'm not going to paint the room yet because I don't have time to paint the room at the moment anyway. But I thought I will get this, which I'm sitting on, which is a futon, because my mum, when she comes to stay, stays currently on an inflatable bed, and she's very polite about it, but I know it's not comfortable. This is more comfortable, and I've bought a rug for the room and it will do. I'm into the just little wins, making things just a little bit better, you know, bettering the house 10% at a time is absolutely fine, instead of trying to think about like damp proofing and redoing windows and, you know, big things like fixing chimneys and all of this stuff. That's too much for my brain right now. We're just going to do rugs and a fold out bed. That's about as much as I can handle, but it's making this room feel really lovely. I'll do a cutaway so that you can see it. And yeah, anyway, so I'm pleased with that this week. Why was I talking about this? Oh, I'm just saying where I'm filming. Yes, I'm filming in my office, which is this room now, and feels a little bit more like my space, which is good. So I was going to start a reading vlog today, but I'm already filming a reading vlog, and filming 2 at the same time just seemed a little bit silly. The one I'm filming at the moment is reading a lot of the international book along list books, not all of them because I don't have time, so I've just chosen the ones that appeal to me the most that I would like to get to. They're all short books and none of them are available on audiobook, which is a big shame because, well, accessibility reasons, and also I love audiobooks, and 75% of my reading so far this year, I think, has been audiobooks because I have a 1-year-old and I don't have any childcare and I look after her myself all of the time. Mr. M also obviously helps when he is not at work, but during the day it is just me. So during nap times like now, I need to be doing my job and working. And therefore, if I'm doing other things like housework, prepping meals, whatever, during those times, I like to have an audiobook in, and that's how I've been doing my reading. And I've been having so much fun with that. I used to read audiobooks pretty much exclusively when I was a kid and teenager, and it just feels so nostalgic. I've also been reading some brilliant books, so I look forward to talking to you about those at some point. We need to have a catch up, do like a seasonal wrap up or something, because I've been reading quite a lot. Not as much as I used to pre-baby, but I've been reading some really good books that I would like to talk to you about. Anyway, so because the other reading vlog, none of the books are audiobooks, I would like to select some audiobooks to read, and I thought I would do a vlog about that where I kind of shop my shelves and then the library can decide which ones I want to read. I went to not our local library because our local library has been shut for quite a long time, so we had to go further afield. and got my daughter her library card, which feels very monumental. And she had a lot of fun at the library. We have been several times already. Anyway, I renewed my library card at the same time because I lost mine pre-COVID and haven't gone back to the library since then. So I have now got a new library card, and now I want to have like some kind of like music in the background. Have been reunited with BorrowBox and Libby and free audiobooks, library books, praise be. So if you are someone who is not aware, because some people don't seem to be aware of this, and I feel my need to say this as an author, using books from the library, that wasn't a sentence, getting books out of the library and listening to audiobooks via the library is a great way to support authors, because every time you do that, we are paid, and that is lovely. I really appreciate the money that I get as an author through library loans. Brilliant. So I thought what I would do is I would go through my shelves and I would select books that I would quite like to read in the not too distant future, and would like to see if the library has audiobook versions of, because I've already purchased the books once. I don't particularly want to buy them twice, and it would be lovely to listen to them, and I can then talk to you about these books, kind of as I said, shop my shelves, revisit, remind myself of things that I would quite like to get to, and then I will check to see which ones are available, and I'm going to be interested to see how many are. And by available, I don't mean ready to listen to right this second, though that would be lovely, but just how many are firstly available at all as an audiobook, and then secondly have been bought in by my local library, because libraries don't always buy in all audiobooks, so it might be that they're not available at all even if they are on other platforms. I have already, because some of my books are in my daughter's bedroom, sorry for taking up space in her room with some of my books, but needs must. I've already raided those shelves, which I think are A to H roughly, and I'm now going to go through the rest of the shelves here and pull out some books, talk to you about them, and then we can see which ones are available in audiobook form. Let's do it and see if I can do this before she wakes up from her nap. This is Editing Jen, just to pop on here because I forgot to say this at any point in the video, and I should have done. Speaking of audiobooks, this is Owning It, Our Disabled Childhoods in Our Own Words, my new book, which I have created, edited, and written a part of, along with James and Lucy Catchpole, illustrated by Sophie Camlish, with 20 other contributors. This is an anthology that we have poured our heart and souls into, and it is out now. It came out last week. It is also available on audio, wherever you get your audiobooks from. So, yes, should have said that elsewhere. So I'm inserting that here. Please do go check it out. Also, I will link a video in the description box down below where me and some of the other contributors read parts from our pieces in the book. So you can go and listen to that / watch that, and so you can see whether or not you think it's the kind of book that you would like to read. So yes, on with the rest of the video. Please do go check out the book. Check it out from your local library or purchase a copy. If the mood takes you, that would be wonderful. Right, back to what we were talking about before. Okay, so basically you're a bit wonky, let me sort you out there. I've basically just gone on vibes. So let me talk to you about the ones that I've pulled off my shelves, then I'll go away, check Libby and BorrowBox to see which ones are available, or at least can be put on hold. And we can have a guess how many we think will be available. I'm not sure how many I've got, we'll do some calculations at the end, then have a guess, and then I'll come back and I can tell you whether you and myself were right. So we've got The Weekend by Charlotte Wood. This was recommended to me by many of you because I really enjoyed her book Stoneyard Devotional. Didn't enjoy her book The Natural Way of Things, but many of you said that this was your favourite. I think it's about 4 friends. They've been friends for decades, one of them dies, and then the remaining 3 come together, and I think it's all a bit messy. Then we have got Hard Copy by Veldman, which is translated from the Dutch by Hester Velmans. This one is about a woman who falls in love with the printer at work. That just sounds a bit bonkers, and I would love to read it. Now, this is a classic I have had on my shelves if not pre-booktube, very early booktube, and I don't feel like I'm going to read it in physical form, even though I would quite like to. So I think I need an audiobook to give me that push. And this is The Purple Cloud by MP Shiel. So this is about a fictional man called Adam Jeffson, who's the first man to reach the North Pole. And he also ends up being the last man alive on Earth, because while he has been journeying to the North Pole, everyone else has been inhaling this gas which has sent them mad, and I think everyone's killed each other, if they haven't just died. I was going to say of natural causes. No, they'd be murdered by whatever this gas thing is. Anyway, it sounds pretty dramatic and cool, so I would like to read that. I don't know if this one will be available on audio, but it's the new Claudia Pineiro. I adore her, you know that. This is translated by Frances Riddle. It is called Time of the Flies, and this is a follow-up to her book. Oh my goodness. What was that book called? It's not going to list it in here because it's a different publisher. All Yours, that's it, which is about a woman called Inez who murders her husband's lover. And this is set 15 years after this. It's a bit of a beast, this one. So if it's available on audio, I would be tempted to listen to it, but I will be reading it regardless. Then, ridiculously, I have never read a companion piece, which is the follow-on to Ali Smith's Seasonal Quartet, which I love. I don't know how this one ties in, but I would like to read it because I love the rest of the series. So that's very silly of me. If you have read the series, which one was your favourite? I think my favourite was Winter. I have actually done in-depth reviews of each of those books. If you're interested, like individual reviews, I'll link them in the description box down below. And we've got Body Kintsugi by Senka Maric, and this is translated from Bosnian, I think, by Celia Hawksworth. It says that Senka Maric uses the concept of kintsugi, which is the Japanese art of repairing pottery using gold, to interrogate ideas of illness, survival and recovery. I bought this one quite recently. I think I bought it this year and I've been itching to get to it. Then we've got Sarah Novic's True Biz, which is a novel set in a deaf school, and again I've been wanting to read this one for a very long time. This is one I purchased last year because I was planning to do a reading other booktubers' favourite books of the year video, and I just didn't get round to it. I actually filmed another one of those recently. It was the last video that went up, but I chose new books this time. So this is Land of Milk and Honey, and this was on a lot of people's favourite books of 2023, and I would like to read it because of that. It says, a rapturous novel about a young chef whose discovery of pleasure alters her life and indirectly the world. I think it is like apocalyptic-y. Yes, a smog has spread, food crops are disappearing, a chef escapes her career in London to take a job at a decadent mountaintop colony seemingly free of the world's troubles. Yes, excited about that. Then we've got Pizza Girl by Kyoung Fraizer, which is about a pizza delivery girl who becomes pregnant. I think she's a late teen, and then she becomes very obsessed with one of the women that she's delivering pizza to. Then we have a crime book, which is Once You Go This Far by Kristen Lepionka. This is book 4? It's been ages since I read the others in the series. Yeah, 4. So I don't know if I should go back and listen to the others if they are available. Maybe I should. Anyway, I really have enjoyed this series in the past. This series is about a private investigator called Roxanne Weary, and it's got great... falling over my words. It has great queer rep in it. I don't think I've read a bi cop or investigator before in a book, and I have really enjoyed reading these. Then we've got Sayaka Murata. This is out in April, so this month. So I don't know, I think maybe if it is available on audio there will be a huge waitlist for it, but I'm going to check anyway. This is set in a near dystopian future where sex is banned and all babies are created using IVF. And as someone who went through a lot of IVF, I'm very interested in this, and also Sayaka Murata's work is just, well, bonkers a lot of the time, and some of that I have adored. Like, I love Convenience Store Woman. Earthlings was a bit too out there for me. her short story collection Life Ceremonies. I really enjoyed a couple of stories, but not all of them, so really hit and miss. I'm going to see if I get on with this one. Then Another Crime. This is a stand-in because I've read this one, but M.W. Craven has written a series of crime books set in the Lake District, and I have enjoyed them immensely. I think I've read 6 of them, 5 or 6. A new one is out, so I will see if that one is available on audio. Again, maybe I should revisit all of them because I haven't reread the others, but I'm sure it's fine because each one is a new crime to be solved. This is a non-fiction book. This is Fathoms, The World in the Whale by Rebecca Giggs. It says, when Rebecca Giggs encountered a humpback whale stranded on her local beach in Australia, she began to wonder how the lives of whales might shed light on the conditions of our seas. How do whales experience environmental change? Has our connection to these fabled animals been transformed by technology? What future awaits us and them? And what does it mean to write about nature in the midst of an ecological crisis? Yeah, I think this one, I hope it's available on audio because I think it will be a really good one to listen to. Sea Change by Gina Chung. I think this is about a woman who falls in love with an octopus, maybe. She's called Ro. She's heartbroken. Her long-term boyfriend has accepted a one-way ticket on a mission to colonize Mars, as one does every day of the week. Her best friend, wrapped up in planning her own wedding, is too busy to notice. Her only companion is Dolores, the magnificent giant Pacific octopus her father brought to Rose Aquarium before he disappeared 15 years ago. Yeah, again, that sounds slightly bonkers and I'm here for it. The Lessons by Naomi Alderman. I adored her book Disobedience. Did not enjoy the film so much, but the book is so good. And I didn't really get on with her book, The Power, but I would like to give her another go. The Lessons has been compared to Brideshead Revisited, and I think it has secret history vibes. It's a university novel. It's set at Oxford. It's about partying and debauchery, so I will see if that's available on audio. This one has been on my shelf for a while. This is Housebreaking by Colleen Hubbard, and I think this is about a family feud. Yeah, following a long-standing feud and looking to settle the score, a woman decides to dismantle her home, alone and by hand, and move it across a frozen pond during a harsh New England winter in this mesmerising debut novel. Okay. Then I picked up a Patricia Highsmith from my shelf. I have read a lot of her books before. I've never listened to any of them on audio, which seems silly. I also haven't read the follow-ons to The Talented Mr. Ripley, so maybe I'll see if those sequels are available. But this one is called A Dog's Ransom. This is about an editor who's been receiving poisoned notes in the post, and then one day he receives one saying that the author has stolen his wife's dog and is holding it ransom. I don't need to know more than that, to be honest. Vivi Conway and the Sword of Legend by Lizzie Huxley Jones is a delightful, I assume I haven't read it yet, but I know it's going to be delightful, middle grade novel with excellent queer and disability rep. Then we have Natsu Kurino's Real World. I read her book Out the year before last. Loved 4/5 of it, hated the ending, would like to read more by her to see if I enjoy her other work. I think this is about a group of teenagers who are suspected of doing something they haven't done. Their next door neighbour is found brutally murdered and the girls suspect the neighbour's son and a high school misfit, but when he disappears, the 4 girls become irresistibly drawn into a treacherous vortex of brutality and seduction. This is giving me Yellow Jackets. That's what I'm getting from that. Then we've got When We Were Sisters by Fatima Asghar. Again, this has been on my shelf for a couple of years. I've been wanting to read their prose because I really, really enjoy their poetry. This is a novel about siblings. And that is it. That is it. Okay, so how many books do we have here? 20! 20 books. I did not intend there to be such a lovely number. Okay, so how many out of these 20 do we think will be available for me to take out from the library? I'm gonna guess 5. 5 books that are either available now or in the future. That seems like quite a low number for me, actually. I'm hoping it's higher than that, but I have a feeling it could be around 5. You have a guess? You can pause this video and comment with a guess if you would like, and then comment again and say if you were right later. Right, I'm gonna get on my phone, do some research. implying that maybe 5 out of the 20 would be available, and me thinking that was not particularly optimistic. Turned out to be quite optimistic because only 4 of them are available at my local library. So out of those, we had Pizza Girl by Fraizer, which is available right now. So I have taken it out. I have it on loan. I'm going to start listening to it, and I'm very excited about that. Then Companion Piece by Ali Smith. They have 2 copies of this on audio, and both of them are on loan, but nobody is waiting apart from me now, because I have put a hold on this. So when one of those people returns their copy, I will get to listen to it straight away. And then weirdly, sometimes on my app, it'll say an estimated number of weeks waiting time. And then sometimes it will just say this many people have it on hold, and it doesn't give you a time frame. So and make of that what you will. So I have got Land of Milk and Honey by C. Zhang. There's an estimated 12-week waiting time for this one. But I know that often that is something that goes down much quicker, because sometimes people put things on hold and then when they're told they're available, they don't actually want them. So we'll see how long this actually takes to come to me. And then there was also Sea Change by Gina, Chung. This one, there are 2 copies and there are 7 holds on each copy. So I don't know what that equates to in time. We will see. So I have got holds on those 4. But I didn't think that that was a very helpful statistic, saying that 4 were available at my local library out of the 20. So I did some extra research and discovered, so 11 out of the 20 were available in audiobook anyway, generally anywhere. So really, I suppose my library had 4 out of 11, because there were 9 books that are not available on audio. Some of them are available on audio in the States, but not here. So it's not such a poor hit rate, I suppose, with my library. 4 out of 11 is maybe not that bad. When I am not using my library for audiobooks, what I use, just in case anyone is interested, I use Libro FM, because you can then select an independent bookshop, and every time you purchase an audiobook, they get a cut of the sale. So that's where I use. I know there are lots of places available now, like Zigzag, etc. But yes, I would love to know where you get your audiobooks, how many audiobooks you listen to, like what percentage reading wise is audio for you. Mine has changed so much over the years, and as I said, I might chat about that at some point because I find it quite interesting. I can see that my daughter is waking up from her nap, so I am going to love you and leave you. I will list all the books in the description box down below. I will see you hopefully in the not too distant future for an International Booker Prize reading vlog. And if you enjoy my channel and you would like to consider supporting me on Patreon by throwing $1 or £1 in the tip jar, that would be very lovely. Patreon is linked in the description box down below. Okay, there are probably other things I was going to say, but I don't remember. So I will say them next time. Lots of love. Bye.